We love
But
hip
I wanted
hop.
to move on to this school shooter story because I think a lot of the times when we associate school shooting, we think about like these small town America places where the white boy has the trench coat and he went in and he was being bullied in school, and then he went to the school and just let off and got his revenge on the students that were innocent, but he had problems. We don't really think about school shooting and Toronto and stuff like that. When we think about that stuff here, it's more like isolated incidents of gang violence where some kid brings a burner to school and shoots up the place, and maybe a couple of innocent bystanders got hit, unfortunately. Now there's an incident that happened with a young gentleman the other day. um I guess he got self-defense when it came to him bringing a gun to school, and he said that the reason that he was carrying his gun is because Toronto is like Chirac. So I'm going to play you a video here. I'm sorry, gang. We're in a negative place in society here, man. People are just crashing out. Our system is trash. We have a very catch and release type of system. Um, I'm going to go over this video here, courtesy of Society Unveiled, Canada's shocking school shooting verdict: self defense, or system failure.
Is in big trouble. Remember that Scarborough teenager who committed a school shooting a few years ago? You're not going to believe what the outcome was in this case. I've never seen anything like this in our country. Before I delve into this, hit the like button if you think our country is too soft on criminals. Comment your thoughts about gun rights in Canada. Consider subscribing. It's totally free and you can always unsub. All right, let's get into it.
Earlier today, as was just mentioned, shortly after 3 o'clock this afternoon, police were called to the school here, which is behind me. And one male victim was located. I can say now that this investigation has become a homicide investigation. The deceased is an 18-year-old male, and I can confirm that he is a student at this school. We do not believe that the immediate area or the residents in the area are under any sort of threat of danger. We believe this time, this was a targeted event. And like I said earlier, this is an early stage of the investigation, so there's not much else I can provide in terms of where we are with that. I would ask, though, that area residents or people that might have been in the area shortly around 3 or shortly after 3 with dash cam footage or cell phone footage or anything like that, saw anything out of the ordinary, to please call the homicide squad.
Haven't been here very long, got here about 20 minutes ago. There's a lot of tears inside. There's a lot of upset teachers. As we always do when there's an incident with our kids or our staff, we'll have a full complement of social work and professional services staff. We're working.
And like I said earlier, this is one of these incidents. Again, this is not a mass shooting, right? Doesn't make it any better or worse. I'm just saying it's not a mass shooting. This is one of these incidents where the kid brought a gun to school, got into an incident, and another young man was killed.
With the police, so we'll have to let you know for sure what happens with the school tomorrow. If it remains an active investigation and we're taking our lead from police, we might have to pivot to remote. We're not sure, but we'll let our families know. And as soon as we're all together again, whatever the kids need, whatever the staff need, they will get.
It's devastating. It's an absolutely unfortunate event that's taken place today. Very young individual has lost his life today, and I can assure you that the Toronto Police Service and the homicide squad will do their very best in investigating this matter and hopefully bring person or persons responsible for justice.
Well, a verdict has been reached.
I'll get to that in a second. As far as the verdict, salute to Brown Skin Dragon. She says it's spooky in the 6, but compared to Chicago, it's a stretch. Yeah. Even the other day, statistics were starting to go down, or they were showing that the statistics were down as far as murders that have happened in Toronto. Any murder is a bad murder, but there's only been 17 as of July right now. So, like, we're doing great in comparison to previous years. Okay, but let's get to the verdict.
And it's not guilty on the basis of self-defense. I didn't read or see this on CBC, CTV, Global News, or any other major media site. The Toronto Star reported the following. Jury acquits teen who claimed self-defense in fatal Toronto school shooting, saying he carried gun because his neighborhood was like Iraq. It goes on to say that he's been
He didn't even say Chirac. He went straight to Iraq, like broski. You guys are making me tired, like mentally tired. Like,
acquitted of second-degree murder, fired 4 shots in self-defense, believing the victim, 18-year-old Jefferson Gourier, was lunging at him with a knife outside a high school in the city's East End. The fatal shooting, just as classes were ending for the day on Halloween in 2022, drew widespread attention due to the proximity to students. So one person was killed, and another was also shot and wounded, but he's been let off with no charges. If not guilty is the precedent for self-defense in Canada when you're actually killing somebody, then why was a man who was defending his home charged with firing a weapon in a public place? This two-tiered
we spoke about that, and I spoke to a lawyer about that on camera. Salute to Jordana Goldlist. Holy, that's a good question. And I'm not saying yo lock them up, lock up the kid, but okay, your self-defense is in accordance to you and a next homie who was trying to stab you. If you had a gun at your school, I'm going to assume that you're not a maskeen that just found a gun in your parents' gun case or whatever. Because, and I'm not trying to be stereotypical, as a black youth, like your parents probably don't have a legal gun in the freaking in a storage somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just the chances are low. So you obtain this gun probably via the streets, demand them. So technically, you're just as guilty as the dude in the school with a knife. If you're being bullied and now you went and purchased a gun, guess what, homie? You're still guilty. I understand the bullying part; it's bad, and it sucks. To demand them at school or trying to bully you and might take your life. But if you go and purchase a gun and then pop said man them and you don't get any charges, I understand self-defense. Don't get me wrong. But we're also in a place where we're not allowed to have handguns. So how is it that this youth is able to get off scot-free? I understand juvenile, full frontal cortex not completely developed, but I don't know, man. I'm conflicted. Yeah, this is why I'm conflicted. Thank you, Felix Souvenir. Says, imagine that was your son. I am conflicted, right? Because if it was, it's like, bro, what is happening over at the school that you need to feel that you need to go purchase a gun and go to school? Like, where do these kids go? I want to go over to the school now and see what's going on with the man them. And they'll probably shoot my head off too. Stab me up. That's crazy. So like I don't even know if he should have done the time or if they did the right job as far as letting him go scot-free. Because that's the thing. It's one thing to be like, all right, we're not going to ruin the rest of your life for the bad choices that you made on that day. But I don't know. There's just still a part of me that feels like there should be some kind of punishment, just a little bit. Catch 22 says everyone under 18 scares me. Listen, I won't say completely to the whole scared. Listen, don't bring no scared business around here. Like, I won't say I'm scared too, but I hear you. I'm concerned when I see it's like 35 degrees, 40 degrees right now. And I see the man them walking down in the full Nike Tech suit, hoodie up, balaclava up, like, or mask on the face, or one of those surgical masks. Like, why, bro? Why? You know what? I'm getting back in the car. All right. He made 0 bad choices Friday. Stop. I don't know. Like I said, it could be a bullying thing. If he's being bullied in school and that was his retaliation, he was trying to be a good youth. My bad. He's trying to be a good youth and he just got pushed to the edge. I could also understand that. You feel me? You don't understand the question? It's more of like, I'm just trying to figure out if him getting off scot-free was the right thing. Like, was our legal system not the right thing or wrong thing? Was our legal system being lax, or was it our legal system doing the right job? That's what I'm trying to figure out when I'm going through this case. Let me play a little bit more of this video because I feel like we might be leaving out a little bit of the context, but there's not really much of it left.
Justice system in Canada is going to lead to a major increase in crime. I can tell you right now that I've seen a lot of people online saying that this two-tier firing a weapon in a public place, this two-tier justice system in Canada is going to lead to a major increase in crime. I can tell you right now that I've seen a lot of people online saying that they're going to start carrying a gun with them and then claim self-defense if they shoot someone because they feel like they're, quote, in danger. I can see why the media wants to hide this story from the public because it sets a very dangerous precedent that people can just go around willy-nilly with guns like these British Columbians.
I can hear the racist undertone in your voice there, sir. You might need to pull it back a little bit. What's your name again, homie? And I found this video because you're in my analytics, so we cross-pollinate in audiences. Society Unveiled. I could hear a little bit of the tone in there right there, man. You might want to pull back on that a little bit. I understand your anger when it comes to the heavy immigration and stuff, but you don't got to be racist, my G.
Colombians?
You hear that? British Columbians?
Dangerous precedent that people can just go around willy-nilly with guns like these British Columbians. Overall,
so wait a minute. And I know it's not about that, but it is about that. If they were white British Columbians, would that have been okay for them to be shooting off the rifles? Because they're shooting off rifles. It's not like they're like there with like Glock 13s, like bang, 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 bang. Yo, this is so cool. No, they're in the forest shooting off rifles where they might be allowed to do that. Like, what's the deal? Is it because they're Indian? Like, I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying? If they were wearing Duck Dynasty suits with big beards and they were just like, hey, man, we're just having a good old time. Pass the blue. Right? Pass the blue light. Would this be in this video right now? I'm just asking. I'm not trying to call you a racist. I'm just asking.
I believe that you should be able to defend yourself to the death without any criminal charges if your life is in danger. And I believe that Canada should have a Castle Doctrine law that protects people from unjustifiable laws that discriminate against ordinary Canadians who only want to protect their family. But that's just my opinion. Tell me what you think in the comments section below. Should Canada change our laws around self-defense or keep everything as it is?
Yes, I understand the question also. Let me put this up on the screen here. Where was that? Sluta Aura says, better question is, are they allowed to be holding guns? Yes, that's also a very good question. If they're not, then obviously that's a bad look for anybody, whatever race. But how do we even know if they are or not? You know what I'm saying? We can't see their permits from the video that they put up. And the fact that they're shooting rifles, just from my knowledge of gun laws over here, like, yes, you're allowed to have handguns, but you can't be in the forest shooting off handguns. I don't know if there's laws against shooting off rifles in the forest. Like I know you can hunt, right? You can hunt in Canada. People be hunting at specific times. So if they're not following that, then yes, obviously that's not cool. But like I said, it's not like they showed 2 Indian guys in the forest And I would say even more specifically, Punjabi guys in the forest busting off the AK. Ga, 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 ga. Yo, look at my new guns. Ha, 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 ha. Canada's so lax. Right? But that's besides the point. As far as with this whole thing here with this young man here, I do get the justice system from one side, and I guess this is the liberal part of me coming out, where these young people at such a young age, like 13 years old, and you're in school, or anywhere around that age block where you're in school and you're dealing with such wild experiences that you feel that like you need to bring a gun. Like they said that these kids tried to stab him, or the kid tried to stab him that got shot. And RIP to that young gentleman who got shot as well, who died, and condolences to his family, right? Let's make sure that we say that. But if you're that young and you're having to deal with situations like that, I could understand that could be super, super traumatic and something that makes you do something irrational, especially when you're not getting to the age where like I am now, where I'm making more rational decisions. Like I'm not going to fly off the handle and be a hothead and, maybe think twice. Even think twice in a criminal way if I had to, and be like, yo, I ain't going to get him at school, but I'm going to catch him when I catch him. I'm not condoning that stuff, but I'm just saying the recklessness of the situation where like you shoot somebody at school, you're getting caught. There's not no way around that, right? But the circumstances around it is what I'm thinking maybe the defense was looking at, maybe the judge was taking into consideration, and also not ruining the rest of that young man's life because of rash decisions that he was possibly pushed to make. Okay, and this is me giving him the benefit of the doubt that he could have been pushed to that decision, and he might have not been a gangster. If they were able to argue that, then let him come home. It's soft. Not soft because somebody died, but let him come home. You know what I'm saying? But if it's like y'all niggas are just on some gangster shit and you brought your fuckery from outside on road and brought it to the school, and now you're putting other students in danger, then I think that maybe he might have had to get a little bit more than just, oh, you get to come home with a slap on the wrist. Nah, B. He's got no accountability taken for this shit, and he will do it again. Okay? So let's hope it's not the latter. Let's hope it's the former of what I just mentioned. He's a good youth that was pushed to the edge. Because if it's the latter, then the system has failed us once again. That's all I'm saying. I've flushed out the thought now. Thank you. Because I was just trying to think like, how do I examine this? Yes. Okay. So if it's one or the other, if he's a bad youth already and he came into the school trying to mash up shit, and it's like, oh, when I catch this op at school, I'm shooting him, then they should have locked that nigga under the jail. And I'm sorry if people feel the way about that. But if you were pushed to the edge and you had other aspirations and not trying to be a gangster in school, then let the youth come home and live his life. You know what I'm saying? Yo, Felix, I understand, and maybe you might have a closer connection to this. I understand defending your life, but there's one thing defending your life if you're already a demon, and then there's one thing defending your life if it's like, yo, I'm just a good youth trying to stay out the way. You guys need to leave me alone. And then he ended up shooting them. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, salute to the families of everybody who's involved in this as well, because I'm sure like the families, the trauma is just on a high. The therapy is going to be needed forever. You know what I'm saying? And I seen somebody also address that. We need to start making therapy free. I'm going to keep on pushing that. Anytime we talk about therapy, we can have levels to the shit. Like if you want to have the best therapy, like if you can have a public defender to defend you on a crime, then we should be able to have some kind of free therapy in the world, or, at least to start with our country, where you can go to the free therapist and, vent and, deal with your mental health in some kind of way, at least in any kind of way. And now if you have bread, then you can go buy the most expensive therapist that you can. But at least the option to go get therapy for anybody should be there. It shouldn't be something that you only can get access to if you have the money. You know what I'm saying? That's just my opinion. I get what you're saying right there. Brown skin dragging therapy needs funding because of the resources needed, but the therapy that is being funded by the people who pay for their therapy, because if you're somebody who got money, like you, especially if you're in the higher in the 10% and stuff like that, you're not going to take the free therapist. You're going to pay your $300 an hour for the therapy and whatever. So whatever money comes from the therapy that gets paid, that can be allocated into the free therapy that's available. Don't get me wrong. You might not be able to get the best therapist if you're getting the free as, but at least you have access to one, somebody to talk to. That's all I'm saying. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to check out these other videos on the screen and make sure to like and subscribe.
We love hip hop.